The apologies today are His Worship the Mayor and Councillors Jimmerboy and Medwick. And we'll now move to declaration of interest. And anybody aside from me got a new declaration of interest as we've already recorded. Could I have a move to the apologies?
So move.
And second of the apologies? Councillor Hart. Thank you.
Sorry.
Hello. So if we now move to the declarations of interest, has anyone any declarations of interest not already circulated? Okay, that's a no. I actually do. I've been asked to be an independent member on the Marston District Council review group looking at the new civic centre proposal, which has been controversial for some time. So I'm now going to be a Marston District Council independent reviewer person. Any urgent items that anyone's aware of? I'm not aware of it. No urgent items? In that case, we'll move to the minutes of the last meeting.
Excuse me. Sorry, Chair, can I just ask you to speak up a little bit louder? It's a bit hard to hear.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, because you were out of the room, just letting you know I now have a new conflict of interest, and that's I'm an independent member for Marston District Council looking at the proposed new civic centre.
Okay.
Thank you. Right, so for the minutes of the last meeting, we'll take them as read. Is anybody got any things that needs corrected on there? Not that I will move accepting them as a true and correct record.
So move.
Seconded, please. For the minutes, that's Councillor Hart. And the Deputy Mayor was the one that moved it. And I authorise or I approve that my digital signature be added to the confirmed Audit and Risk Committee meetings of meeting minutes of 12 May 2020. Thank you. I will now move to the action list, if you know, Lisa.
Afternoon, Chair, Councillors. We have a couple of changes on the action listing. The first one on the action list is the insurance review of the airport. I know that the CE has met with the Destination Westland CE, and I did ask him to speak to her about getting the insurance renewals done, valuations done for that. I have also spoken to her, and I think they may be doing this towards the end of the year.
How often are those properties valued for insurance people?
Well, this has been the issue. The airport hasn't been revalued for a long, long time.
It's got an addition on it as well.
That's right, yeah. So we do really want to make sure that it's actually insured for the value that we need it to be in the case of any issues. As far as our own assets are concerned, land and buildings are revalued every 3 years and a fair value assessment carried out yearly. So that is still in progress. The workshop evaluation of the performance of the committee, that is, nothing else has moved on that. We've made no arrangements for that.
Well, actually, if I could just speak to that, what I was thinking was, because this is the last meeting, if people would be happy to, even though I'm not independent in the sense that I'm also the chair of the meeting, if I send you out a list of questions, and I've actually reviewed the workings of committees before, so I'd be using that type of thing, and people would reply to me, then I could do a summary report, which could go, you know, the idea around doing this is to basically take any learnings forward, you know, it's just part of a continuous improvement program. So if people are happy for me and that's acceptable in terms of process, I could send out some questions, people would reply to me, I summarise them and turn them into a report for future use. We'll slightly change the wording of the action.
Okay, thank you. The police vetting policy, we have marked that as now completed and to be reviewed at confidential meeting today. However, we did have to drop that off the agenda at the last minute because it hasn't been completed. So that will be, it'll be brought to the August council meeting instead of the committee. The next one is WD staff working from home and the risk, and checking around privacy and the risk of working from home. We have an ICT acceptable use policy, and that does contain information from working from home and around leaving WDC equipment unattended, unlocked. It also has a section on not allowing family and friends to use WDC equipment. Of course, we can't police that, but it is in our policy, and we do expect staff to abide by our policy. If Chair is comfortable, if the committee is comfortable with that, we could remove it going forward.
Councillors, committee members, are you comfortable with removing the item from the task list?
Yes, yeah.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Yep.
So in that case, I think we should remove it. Thank you.
Thank you. Reporting to Council by Chair of the Audit and Risk Committee. We've marked that as completed, as that process now started. Yeah, if you're comfortable with that, then we can remove this one if you're in agreement.
You're in agreement with removing that?
Yes.
Item 5?
Yes.
And possibly item 6 as well, given that that hasn't happened yet, but it's happening in 2 weeks. Or do you think it's fit soon?
Okay, yeah. Make sure it happens and then we can remove it.
Right, move it on then. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's the action list. It's completed.
Oh, I'm happy to move that the action list be received and that items 4 and 5 be removed. Do I have a second?
Yes, second that.
Deputy Mayor seconded, thank you. We'll move on to the protected disclosures policy. Thank you.
We not have the Audit and Risk Committee rolling work plan.
Sorry.
So the rolling work plan actually only has the one final month on it, which is this month for the committee today, because of the finishing of the triennium, which means that this will be the last committee meeting under that triennium. Start off with the external audit. We are still not sure whether we are supposed to get an independent audit report from Ernst & Young. We haven't had any yet. They have carried out an internal audit. We don't really know how that has gone. We've given them everything we needed. Any questions that they've come back with have been answered. But as far as we know now, we're just waiting until the final audit, and then we may just get one final audit report after the end of that.
So just to you mean interim audit, not internal audit. Yeah.
Interim, sorry.
That's all right, thanks.
Financial reporting, due to the year-end adjustments that we have to carry out on our financial accounts, we don't have a financial report to give to you in this meeting today. Simply because the results we could give you at this point in time won't really reflect the year-end balances when we have completed the adjustments. Insurance renewals won't be received until September or October, although we have already started providing underground insurance information to the insurers, and what they will do is take that to their the likes of Singapore and the UK as in a presentation, and it's an all of South Island collective for the insurance, which gives us better terms and better limits for our insurance. Risk management framework, we have the full register on today, so normally we bring the top 10 risks, but we've got the full register on for you today to review, just as an annual process. Health and safety report is also on the agenda. Under our internal control framework, we've got the whistleblower report next. That's coming up in the confidential. Policy review is a new, basically reworked protected disclosures policy to reflect the new act that has come into force from the 1st of July. And that is the work plan.
Any comments or questions on the work plan? Oh, yes, one councillor.
Councillor Neil's still connected. Yeah.
Yeah, no questions, thank you.
No questions, no.
Thank you. And I haven't got any questions, so I'd like to move that we receive the role of work plan, and do I have a second, please?
Second that.
It's Deb in here, second. Now we can move to the protected disclosures. Thank you.
So the protected disclosures policy, I'll take the report and the policy as read. What I put on the agenda was the track changed version, so you could see the amount of work that we put into updating this policy in line with the Act. I've also put the clean version on for you because it's easier to read. And I've also put the guidance, the summary guidance that we have used to actually build this policy. So I'll take it as read and answer any questions.
Question through you, Chair. Leslie, the second sentence in the policy paragraph, top of the first page, I wonder whether it's redundant and the wording doesn't kind of make sense. Says this policy also applies to any persons concerned in the management of the council, including elected or appointed members. So I don't know whether the word concerned is right there, whether it should be involved, but I actually wonder whether that's necessary at all, that sentence, and whether you can't just add elected or appointed members in the list in the first sentence. In other words, it needs to be saying this policy applies to current and former employees, and elected or appointed members. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we could just make a change to that wording. We've just really taken the wording from the Acts and the guidance, really.
Yeah, but it doesn't, that can stay there, except I think the word concerned doesn't make sense.
Okay,
I'm not quite certain what concern is supposed to mean there.
We'll have a look at the guidance again.
Yes.
And if it specifically says concern, then I would suggest we leave it because that is on the guidance from the DIA.
Should it also, seeing that it includes elected members, should it include them there?
Well, I think it says appointed members as well, elected or appointed members, which all elected members and the mayor are elected and appointed.
That old issue, the mayor is not an elected member. He's the mayor.
I know, but appointed.
He's not appointed.
True. Well, it doesn't state it in the guidance, so if you would prefer me to include that, I can do that. I have no issue with including that, but I think they're using the elected as being broad. Yeah.
It does quite often separate though, just the same, isn't it?
It is, it's both. It's used.
The mayor is not an elected member. An elected member is someone who's elected for a ward seat. So that's not the mayor. He's elected as the mayor, which is a different role. But it is sometimes used.
I'll check the guidance again and see it again.
I'm just being pedantic. But.
Yeah, I will check the guidance. That's fine. I'm quite happy to add him or her as mayor separately if that's what the guidance shows.
Questions, councillor? I have one under the related policies and laws. This is something because I don't know what it is, in the sense that escalation process, is that a policy? Is that escalating through council or?
Yeah, we do have an escalation policy, and depending on who actually finds something, and it's about where they go to next. So potentially their manager, or a manager would go to a group manager or upwards, moving up to council, and there's a timeline depending on what the issue is as to whether it's immediate, 24 hours, 48 hours, etc.
I think so. I thought it was probably something like that, but it's short. So thank you for the clarification. Any further discussion on the draft protected disclosures policy?
No questions from me, thanks.
Thank you. In that case, would somebody like to move that the report be received and that the protected disclosures policy be reviewed and approved for wider publication?
So moved.
It's moved by the Deputy Mayor, and do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Hart, thank you. And I now move that we move into public excluded session, and we would have 2 minutes while the live streaming is disconnected. Sorry, I do have a seconder for moving to public excluded. Deputy Mayor seconded, thank you.